Let's take the last call, intellectually confused, and I've got hello.
Hello,
I have the last
hello,
caller.
Mr. Radio DJ in the house.
What would you like to say?
I've got a very small survey.
Okay.
Survey in the link. Only 7 questions.
Okay, good.
Pew, this is the other side about the Indian one. I did the Pakistan one. So I had a lot of people asking me, why don't you ever do an Indian one?
Oh.
So I said,
okay, so what is this one?
This is about all about the Indian attitude.
Called gender roles.
Yeah.
Okay, that's going to be very interesting, actually. So that was done on 2nd of March 2022. So how we did this? So let's see. So the survey
size is 30,000 people, like 29,999. I don't know why this short.
Why they leave one person out?
Maybe the one person didn't turn up on the day. Probably that. Called in
very
sick.
much possible. No, very simple survey. RS, you take the lead. I'll tell you the key points as we continue with the questions. With this one.
So the survey results reflect discomfort with women in politics. So most adults say that women and men make equally good political leaders, which is 55%. So that's
nice.
Yeah, I mean, it's good that it's in majority, slight majority, but it should be higher. Or that women generally make better leaders than men. So that's okay. That's where it should be. You shouldn't prefer men or women, I would say. Only a quarter of Indian adults take the position that men tend to make better politics. So these are traditional people who actually quarter about 25%. Okay, so 55% say that, yep, men and women are equal, good, equalist here, 14% feminist here, and 25%, what's the other word? Misandrist? No, the pro-men. What are they called? Masculinists. Yeah, okay.
I can't say the misogynist. I'll say masculinist would be a better word.
Yeah. While most Indians say that men and women should share some family responsibilities, many still support traditional gender roles. So both men and women making decisions about expenses, 73%. This is good.
Yeah,
73%. So they're saying, yep, men and women should have an equal say about, how much money we should spend on, let's say,
furniture or
overall
expenses, furniture. That's so weird.
How you're going to take care of the family in future and all those kind of things. That's what they mean about this one.
20% say men and 6% say women. I'm actually surprised at this one. This should have been the other way around because, like in India, Pakistan culture, they say that, the local things, the household thing, let the wife take care of that.
Yeah, she runs the household.
Yeah, that's the general perception. But
that's the interesting thing. In Pakistan, it was quite the opposite side.
Oh, was it?
It was. It was the men were taking more charge there, and that's what the survey also had shown. But I'm pleasantly surprised that here 73 people at least agree that both should be taking part of it, and it is only going to go the other side. The funny thing is the third one, Harris, earning money. That's where the discrepancy occurs.
Well, so 54% think this is still pretty good. I know it should, I would have hoped that it should be around in the 70s, but 54% is still good. So there's more good than bad. And 43% think that only men should work. Well, look at this one. What happened to all these feminists here? These ones. Where do they go? So 23%, 25% of these people think that women become... So they want to take leadership roles, but they don't want to do menial jobs. Look at that one. Just two. They go from 25% to 2%. How do you defend that one, Maria?
How do you know that's menial, first of all?
Well, what?
Oh, yeah.
No, because we're talking about it anyway. No, compared to being in politics and leadership roles, obviously... Even
any job is menial if you're not a politician. Is that what you're saying?
Well, I'm just saying, okay, well, lesser jobs.
I'm not saying anything.
lesser jobs,
Ooh,
whatever.
You are in murky territory, mate.
Hard-working jobs. Okay, like 9 to 5ers. Then now you say, well,
subjecting a hard-working job. Are you talking about physical labor?
Okay, forget about that. Can you focus on this?
Let's move ahead.
No. Can you? So they want to take 25% of these women believe that they need to take leadership roles in politicians in politics, but when it comes to normal jobs, only 2% want to work. How do you explain that?
They don't say that they should. That first one is a belief. in that
Yeah.
women can be good leaders or not. It's not they
Yeah,
should
this is
be or
also
not be.
but no, that's what it is. Like they can be. So here it's like, oh, okay, earning money as well. They can earn money, or they should be.
Okay. The
Yes.
best answer you get is that you get it on top. That's what I liked about this survey was it gives you a gist on top. Like for instance, 62% of adults say both men and women should be responsible. More or less, what it is saying is that what you see is that at least in India when they did the survey, we are progressively moving towards a gender equality kind of a thing.
Good.
54% is still very high. I was expecting it to be far lower, and
That's good.
let's.
But
Yeah,
intellectually confused, have you also seen, like, I noticed a couple of years ago, I've stopped watching Bollywood now for a couple of years, but there was a movie that was out, I think it was Kareena Kapoor and somebody else, and they were actually challenging the gender roles as well. I think he was a stay-at-home husband in that.
Oh yeah.
And so they are trying to push these narratives kind of, whether it's through the cinema or art to kind of make this more...
Arjun Kapoor and Kareena
Yes,
Kapoor.
correct.
Yeah,
Yes,
that
yes,
one.
yes.
That movie. No, Bollywood, I would say, is coming up with these kind of movies, and they not blockbusters, but they are doing business. So, but do remember one thing: these kind of movies are not targeted for the rural area; they are targeted for multiplexes. They have got their budget gets recovered from multiplexes, not from single screen ones. So it's not a very don't get hopes high that that's the overall scheme of things. They are just primarily targeting towards the metro areas, metro cities, and all those kind of things, and that they earn very good money there. Because
Well, I feel like if we see any discrepancy or the numbers not as good as we want, it is largely because of those rural areas, right? In the city, it seems to be pretty much like
Oh, yes.
common nature. I think like Mumbai or anything we see women working and earning as if you would in any other metropolitan city in the world. That's
I'll give you a funny instance. Like if you go to matrimonials and all those kind of things, people will ask, and I've heard it from other people that if there is a girl, if they put an ad and the groom side, whoever they come, they ask, okay, if she's working, how much is she working, how many years. It's become common knowledge that if she is working, it's expected that she's not going to leave her job because she's already invested so many years, and the life is getting tough in all these metros. Everybody wants more money to come in, so it's a better life for their family. All right, number 3. All right.
yeah.
All right. So an overwhelming majority of Indian adults say it is very important for families to have both sons and daughters, and a substantial share are expecting of sex selection, and a substantial
This is
share
a
are
bad one.
accepting sex selective abortion. Okay, so complete 4 in 10 Indians say it is acceptable to balance gender makeup of family via modern methods. So completely acceptable. 26. So balanced gender makeup means that we should have one girl, one boy. Is that what they're saying?
Okay. What it means is, again, this is the same problem which is about the male child, right? Who's going to take over the name of this one.
Continue the family name, take the
Yes,
legacy.
the son
Yeah.
has to be there. I was a bit alarmed with this particular one. That if you see, so the net acceptability is a sum of both those 26 plus 14, and the net
Yeah.
net unacceptability is a sum of this. So it's 53-40 is, and
So
I
there's
don't know
more
why. Yeah,
unacceptable. So again, it's still slightly better
yeah, it is.
than what it should
But
be. So
still
it's
very
53% are saying, okay, yeah, I know you're saying it's a lot closer, somewhat unacceptable. Where's the other, 7% going?
Yeah, I think they might have not answered because the math doesn't turn out to be the 100%.
Yeah, fair
They
enough.
might have
They might
not
not have answered.
answered.
Yeah, but they should have added that the other 7% chose not to answer or whatever. But so okay, so just to understand it correctly, so they're saying that okay, to basically get the gender reveal done, and if you find out, let's just say if you've had 2 girls and the third one in the ultrasound is also showing it to be a girl, then it's okay to abort it in the name of keeping the balance of the family. That's what it is. So 53% are saying that's not acceptable. We should never do that. If there's a girl coming or a boy coming, whatever, whoever's coming, we should not be aborting on those principles. But 40% are saying, yeah, well, it's acceptable. That's a very high number, though.
That is a high number, and this is after the sex determination ultrasounds have been made illegal for a very long time. In India,
Oh yeah, yeah.
you cannot find out the sex of a child till the
Same
time.
in Pakistan. Yeah.
Yeah, because of the high rate of female abortions of female feticide which were happening, because of which. But still, this 26% is really alarming, which say it's completely acceptable. I should have expected it to go down. Let's hope it will continue to go down.
Okay, so most Indians say sons should be primarily responsible for parents, last rite, or burial rites, although attitudes differ significantly across religious groups. So we've got Muslims, obviously. Most Muslims,
Yes.
74% think that it's men, and because women are not, by the way, I think if nobody knows. So when during the funeral processions, it's only the men who do the namaz janaza, the funeral prayers. Um, they take the dead body, whether that's of a woman or a man. They they take it to the graveyard, and only men go there, not women. So what we've seen in the Bollywood movies is a bit different with Hindus. I mean, everyone goes and get chita ki aag
No,
lagani,
but you remember that scene in what is it? Kabhi Khushi Kabhi Gum, where Shah Rukh Khan comes and they're holding it. It's all the sons of the family with Amitabh Bachchan. Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
It is in Hinduism as well. It's chita ko aag dena. It's like the fire.
The son does it.
Son does it, or somebody male in the family does it. However, things are changing. But it will take a little bit more time. But things are changing.
But anyway,
Towards
so
that.
so most Muslims, 74% Muslim. I'm actually surprised. But who are the other 26% who think that no, it's okay. We can just anyone can do it. Jains is still pretty high. Hindus is high, as you said, obviously lower than Muslims, but still considerably high. Ooh, what says son should be primarily responsible for funeral rituals, but far fewer Sikhs. Only 29% of Sikhs. Okay, well, Sikhs,
And
Christians.
these
I
are
think Christians
the
don't care. I don't think there's anything in Christianity about sons
I was
and.
surprised about the Christianity as myself as well, because Christians are far more progressive. What I have seen myself, anecdotal
No,
evidence.
but you got to understand that our part of the world, whether they're Christians or Hindus, they are much more radical when it comes to Islam or Christianity. Like Ghalib tells us all the time that because when you look at these nominal Christians in the West, they don't know anything. They don't
Yeah.
care. They don't know anything. They don't take it seriously. But you see an average nominal Christian in Pakistan, they're quite dogmatic. So in our countries, they're quite dogmatic. They take religion very seriously, probably because they see Muslims take their religions very seriously. So that's probably why. But it might be a coping mechanism. But yeah. So when you think that this bias of Christians being very progressive, you're probably thinking of the Westerners, not our
Yeah.
Desi Christians. They ain't that progressive.
No, I'll
they're,
give
they're
you
more progressive than the Muslims, but they're
I'll
not that
give you
progressive. They have the certain biases about women, izzat, honor, all those kind of things.
a bit, not that much. If you see at least the ones I've seen in Mumbai or even a little bit in Delhi as well, Mumbai ones are very progressive in nature, so
Talking about big
not
city
as
ones.
much.
Yeah,
But
we're
again,
talking about big city ones.
do keep in mind Sikhs. They will come up again and again as an outlier in a good sense.
Okay. So Muslims are more likely than other Indians to support traditional gender roles in families. No surprises there. While Sikhs are often the least likely community to hold such views. Why? I thought Sikhs were. See, this is the thing, yeah? Like these people can be very dogmatic about their religion, but the
Yeah.
religion itself may not be very oppressive within itself, and I know that's what Hindus say as well. But Sikhs, so far, it looks like Sikhs are very women friendly.
Yes, yes,
Their
yes.
their attitudes are very women friendly.
Exactly. And
Um, yeah, go on.
each of this ones you see, and as you see progressively, keep a watch out for Sikhs, how much there is a vast difference between the Muslim Hindus and the Sikhs as the three main criteria, I'll say. Like sons should have the primary responsibility, 74 Hindu, 63 and 629. Men in family should be the primary responsibility of earning, the responsible for earning, 61, 43
Mhm.
and 17. Do you see that? I have
Yeah.
a theory behind that, Haris. The theory is that, and I might be wrong, I might get bashed in the chat line for this, is that I think because there is a huge population of Sikhs who have traveled abroad, right? So I think they
No, but
got
these questions
more.
are being asked. Yeah, but these questions have been asked by the Indian Sikhs, the locals, the
No, no,
Pendu
but
ones.
no, that's correct. But they do have an impact on the kind of culture, right? Because when their kids also go, the girls also go, they are also working there, so that does rub in.
We do, fair enough, but again, we would never know for sure because we've
Yeah,
seen
yeah,
that even the no, I think I'm not an expert in that, but I think there must be something in the theology where it might be very woman friendly. I think that must be in the theology. So
I
anyway,
think
so
the
but look at
religion,
this.
yeah,
Some of these numbers, I mean, look at it. They're way above Christians and Buddhists and Hindus and Jains, and definitely
yeah,
way above Muslims.
yeah.
Women in families should be primarily responsible for taking care of children. Only 14%. So they're okay, chala bhaja tu. They're saying that. No, it can be a man too. It doesn't matter. So sons should have the primary responsibility to care for parents as they age. So it's not just their more on feminist side, but they're also like, no, even we don't want to be unfair towards men either. Why should son have to
Yeah.
carry the burden of older parents? So it's good. It's good everywhere. So yeah, this is not bad.
And the last
Uh,
is men in a family should be should primarily be responsible for making decisions about expenses. Only
it goes
nine
even
percent in
lower.
six,
It's only 9.
9%,
I
and
think woke liberals of the West need to see this. There is a community, there is a society that only 9% people who favor men over women in a certain factor. They have only 9%, so they're minority everywhere. They are a minority in every single variable. They're a minority. This is actually quite amazing. I mean, I like Sikhs now. No wonder. Yeah, look, I've seen some Sikh aunties. They're very kuliduli, they're very open. They don't
yeah,
care. They're like,
Also,
and their
because
husbands.
you have to remember, like, also the cultural nuances behind this, right? Like what you guys were talking about earlier. This is such a harsh topic. The fact that a male should bear the brunt of the parents, like, health and their finances
When they're
when they're
old age,
older.
yeah.
And if you have one son in a Desi family, that is a lot of burden for that son to bear. And it
yeah,
really is the case if he has sisters following. They're not really. I mean, usually they say that, like, the sisters would, like, emotionally take care of a mother and father in a way that maybe a son can't. But this financial burden is very much put on the son's shoulders, and again with the Sikh factor, I think if you look at Punjabi women generally, I mean, like my dadi as well, my grandma, she's from basically Amritsar in India, right? The only difference is that she's a Muslim because they moved to Lahore, but she was the Punjabi nature is very a lot of Punjabi families are quite matriarchal in nature, and that Punjabi women are very headstrong, and they're quite assertive, a lot of them, by their general nature. So that's probably what lends itself to the Sikh elements as well, because not to give Sikhism a free pass, I know in the actual scriptures there is a lot of demeaning women as well. If you
Is
if you
there?
look, yeah, if you look
is
into
it?
it, 100, yeah, because I used to
Oh,
think that Sikhism was kind of okay for women, but then again, I just took one Google search, and then you see
So,
scriptures where
so you're saying, so basically, so intellectual confusion might be your point, might have more bearing on that it's that's more of a behavioral thing where they've actually let go of certain aspects of the scripture and they become more practical and they evolve with time and they're saying, okay,
yeah.
well, why should be just putting all the burden on one gender and discriminate one gender over the other? So yeah, well, anyway, who cares? At the end of the day,
Because
it's like
also keep in mind, a lot of Sikhs, they are into two. Now again, I'll get bashed on it, but in India also a large amount of transportation is handled by them, right? And even they are known for agriculture, where the whole family has to take part into it. So it's not uncommon to see Sikh women driving tractors and all those kind of things
yeah.
in rural areas. So that also, the kind of circumstances also help elevate the mindset of the people on this one. I'll be bashed in the chat line today.
No, you won't be. Okay, don't worry about it.
All right.
Okay.
The
Last one.
sixth one is important. Is a really, which doesn't make sense because the other factors are not 100% linking. It seems to be very open, but then again, if you read this, that Indian favor teaching boys to respect women in a way to improve. It says that roughly 76% say violence against women is a very big problem, and the police cases against crime against women have nearly doubled. So that I don't think the reason why they have doubled is, I think, because now they have forced to register more cases. I think that might be one of the reasons why.
So you're saying
Overall,
India's always been this bad?
no, it's a very known thing that if you go try to lodge an FIR, they generally don't lodge an FIR, and it's like in Pakistan also, right? One of the reasons why they don't lodge an FIR is if they start lodging an FIR, the stats
They have
for
to,
their particular area start
and they
going
have to
down
work. They have to solve the case as well. I
as
know
well,
that.
and their stats also, when they report, their
Yeah,
stats also go
yeah, I
down.
know
And
that.
once
It's a
an
known. I think in Pakistan they spoke about it that we've computerized it now that we you actually have to give the FIR number,
yeah,
all these first information reports. So what they used to do, kacha pe, did they say that
exactly.
in your,
Yeah,
like kacha and pakka, kachi
yeah, yeah,
report, pakki report?
yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
so
Correct.
so just we've scribbled it on a piece of paper,
Yeah.
or we've actually entered that in the computer. So yeah. So anyway,
Because
so
the books,
regardless
the
of the case,
FIR,
but the
yeah,
perception. Hang on, but the perception is that we're not going to go into that. There's just so many topics to cover. Then, so 76% of the Indians think that violence against women is a very big problem in the country, and it needs to be solved. So about half of Indians, 51%, say it is more important to teach boys to respect all women, while roughly a quarter, 26%, say it is more important to teach girls to behave. Okay, so this is again, so that's
this
a
is where the
good
problem is.
factor again. But hang on a sec. But I think it looks, Nuria. But I know that we think that what the hell is 26? This is like the Imran Khan statement. Well, men are not robots. If they see a girl in a skirt, then they're gonna do it. So women
Yeah.
should not wear skirts. So that these are the people who actually agree with Imran Khan. But the good thing is that is still a much smaller number compared to this and the other 22% who would have been neutral or whatever. So,
It's just
Nuria, how
over
did
half. I mean, that's really disappointing. I don't know why you would be neutral for that statement at all, like that question on just teaching boys
yeah,
to respect women. That's like a basic, fundamental thing. But again, this is the groundwork we're dealing with in countries like India and Pakistan, right? It's not taught as a. In fact, you would to say that you need to teach boys to respect women, you're acknowledging that there's a serious problem.
Don't think that's
eh,
the, I don't think
yeah,
that they need to teach. I think it's in, or I think it's ingrained in most, at least if you're studying into a school, in a co-education area, you automatically get those kind of things taught by default to you. Like,
when
No, but
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 still
but
no,
intellectually confused, respectfully, in the countries that we hail from, it's not a given at all.
not a
Like
given at
whether
all.
it in a domestic setting or even in a school setting, there's because of the underlying just
Built
cultural
up frustration.
mentality, yeah, and just the remnants of like a very very overarching patriarchal society where women
mhm.
have certain set roles, which like
Yeah,
as the survey showed, we're trying to break away from them right now. Normalize taking care of expenses by yourself, normalize going into political positions, normalize working. These are all good signs, but this in these cultures, you teach
Yeah,
this at home.
yeah.
The way we see differences between brothers and sisters play out in the domestic setting speaks volumes for how
Mm,
how men think that they are over women.
I,
yeah,
I can tell you one thing for sure, Nuria. If you're in a middle or upper middle class in one of the metro cities, again, it can be away also, other as well. I'm just talking about my experience, anecdotal evidence. Man, girls have a far better experience growing up than boys. They get everything from their parents, and the boys get the short end of the stick. They are treated like princesses. And
well, that's wrong too.
Mhm.
oh
So
no, believe
I
me.
know we kind of glorify that,
And
but we do see that. But again, that's not what we're talking about. Those girls are going to go out, and those girls are going to go to the real world where there's going to be predators. There's people who are going to come out there who haven't had the luxury, or in their schools it was a taboo that we don't talk about boys and girls relationships, etc., or sex talk. Sex is dirty and tabooed, and we're not going to talk about it. So those princesses, when they go out in the real world, when they ride, when they jump on a bus, then someone's going to touch it. Someone's going to. So that's the point, that over and over again they need to be taught. I'll just talk about the Pakistani society. I think this is the most hypocritical society we've ever lived in. And especially Punjabi, we know that on TV and in the movies and the dramas, and we pretend that, oh, we are very well spoken, we respect women. Where you can find any two friends, or actually, the larger the number gets, the worse it gets. If you get 4 or 5 guy friends are sitting having a chat. Just listen to how they actually address women or what they talk about
Yeah.
women. And again, it's you could argue, you could say, well, okay, well, this is, maybe it has some natural instincts as well. But I actually saw yesterday. I saw in your London Tube station or something. Said every incident of violence starts initially with words or with a word. Like, like it just slowly builds up. And again, there's Johnny Depp trial going on as well, and we know who's the victim there. But I genuinely believe majority of these incidents, the victims of violence, majority of them, overwhelming majority, are women. And men do have an extra responsibility as well. Okay, they're stronger physically, and men have other kind of abuse to deal with. So there has to be an open and honest discussion, and teach them young. But what we teach in
Teach them
Pakistan,
young so that we can walk around at night. Please.
but what we teach them, we're like, oh, Islam teaches this. There's purdah. There's ghara.
The Quran itself. What men are a degree above women. Where do you go when you start off with something like that? Men have a right over women. Women are your tilth. Approach them how you want.
And Imran Khan's the books, the illustrations of the show that a mother is teaching her daughter, which she's got at the baton, and then the boy is being taught by his son, but he's wearing jeans and t-shirt. These are subtle messages that go and that create stereotypes. But actually, what we've seen from Imran Khan's curriculum revolution, he actually doesn't mind creating stereotypes. He actually believes in creating stereotypes.
Yeah.
He says, men, women, and these are gender-based roles.
And
but I'm
man
happy.
like Imran Khan, who says women, like as we were talking about the first information report, filing and reporting sexual harassment and crimes, Imran Khan actually tries to push the fact that women are shameful, like sharam, what's that in English? Like you're, like out of your own... your own honor, you don't report a crime, is also setting such a dangerous message, that, like, making that a virtue. Staying silent in the face of sexual assault or, any kind of sexual violence is a virtue, according to Imran Khan, and should be.
Fortunately, in India, because of
Thanks for that close up, Horace.
because of the few cases which had happened, they become really protests have come up where any kind of at least sexual atrocity has come to light. People in masses have gone, and they've even changed laws. Nirbhaya case, we have discussed that before, was one of the catalysts for that. So at least law-wise, we are heading in the right direction.
Yeah.
4 in 10 Indians say marriage with traditional gender roles is more satisfying. Hang on, 4 in 10 Indians say marriage with traditional gender roles is more satisfying. Okay. India's 40%. Wow, okay, so this is a global one. Where's Pakistan?
29, I believe, or 23.
Pakistanis disagree so much it's not on there.
Not even on the list. We don't even make the list.
No, they are not on the list. I was checking.
So compared with people in other countries around the world, Indians have relatively traditional views on gender roles. That doesn't surprise, but the rest of the indicators were pretty good. So I don't know what happened here. Although Indian adults are roughly in line with the global median, so there's a global median which is 23.
Yeah,
so
23, yeah.
okay. A global median in their support for equal rights for women by 2 other measures, the Indian public appears much more conservative according to a series of other surveys conducted by the center in recent years. So there would be, obviously, these are just 6 questions. These 6 look pretty good, but there'll be other variables as well.
Yeah, because it doesn't make sense, because the survey shows a very different thing versus the median.
Yeah, because it's only 6 variables. Yeah, but there are only 6 variables. That's why. I mean,
I'm going to look for the other survey now. And
wow, good luck. It says they're probably far too many. That's why they even said that they're going to see a series of other surveys conducted. So I'm sure there'll be plenty of other variables as well where it would be like, oh, okay, that needs a bit of work. But don't worry about it. It's still 40%. Like it's less than 50%, so it's good. Look at Sweden. Oh, look, Australia. We're right up there, 23. Right on the mark. Average median.
Oh, we can't
Considering
see it because of your because we're I can't see it because we're covering. Oh, there we go. Okay.
Australia's 23. And you know, look, UK. Nuri, you guys doing all right? 17? Not bad.
Not good enough. Definitely
No,
not.
what's 17? Come on, don't be ungrateful. Look at Sweden. But look at Sweden. That number is going to change thanks to
Yeah, we
influx,
certain participants adding their
that-
views.
But see, this is the thing. That's what I was talking about. The Sweden. And those of you who don't know, we just covered a news story where Sweden is Swedish Prime Minister said that integration has failed.
Made a very bold statement to go as far as say integration has categorically failed.
Yeah.
We have failed to assimilate these migrants. They have failed. We have failed. The system has failed.
No. I disagree with that one.
Now it looks like Sweden is starting to fall in these different indicators of being one of the most livable countries. So look at this; it's the top country when it comes to gender equality. It is the top country. So these are the indicators that made Sweden or Scandinavian countries synonymous with success and prosperity and equality and good standard of life. But now the Swedish Prime Minister has just come out and said that, well, integration has failed. We're having this migrant crisis or excessive immigration, etc. So that video will be uploaded separately, so you can check that out later. To help me produce more videos like these, support me on Patreon or PayPal.